And for over 8 years, the U.S. has gone without an ambassador to the Bahamas, a fact China is now taking advantage of. One America's Pearson Sharp explains how U.S. neglect for the island nation has given China a foothold on America's doorstep.
Since 2011, the United States has gone without an ambassador to the Bahamas. The Caribbean island nation is small, with a population of only about 400,000, but it attracts a lot of U.S. tourism, and sitting just 50 miles off the coast of Florida, it's right in the middle of one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. That fact hasn't gone unnoticed by the Chinese. China has set its sights on the Bahamas and has invested billions in building new infrastructure and industry across the country. New roads, new businesses, new hotels, and booming Chinese immigration has led to many businesses being staffed with more Chinese workers than local Bahamians. Reports show over 200,000 Chinese are illegally smuggled into the Caribbean every year to open up their own shops or work at Chinese businesses, with many sending their money back to China. Officials say these practices are crowding out small retailers, and by selling inferior goods and using Chinese workers for what amounts to slave labor, they're putting locals out of business. Chinese state banks are also putting up tens of millions of dollars for building projects like new ports and bridges, as well as a huge new Chinese embassy in the heart of downtown Nassau. The Chinese government even gifted a new national stadium to the Bahamas to the tune of $50 million. And China's state-owned Export-Import Bank dropped nearly $3 billion to put up the luxurious Bahamas resort in New Providence. Thanks to investments like these, some analysts go as far as to say China now owns the Bahamas. These developments paint a grim picture for the future of one of America's closest neighbors. But what alternative does the Bahamas have? According to the Bahamian government, they simply can't afford to build huge projects like these on their own. So, with China stepping in and essentially colonizing the Bahamas, where does that leave the United States? Washington is choosing to remain on the sidelines as China swoops in to develop strategic real estate right on America's front door. And now, some 55 miles east of Palm Beach, China is building a massive new shipping port, a strategic location which could be used for military vessels and submarines. China already has a military presence in the Caribbean, occupying old Soviet bases in Cuba. But could Washington soon have to deal with the reality of Chinese warships off the coast of Florida? But China isn't the only reason the U.S. should be concerned. The Bahamas are also a major gateway for drugs, weapons, and illegal aliens coming into America. While Mexico comes to mind when many think of U.S. border security, the Bahamas just received a Tier 1 ranking from the State Department for human trafficking. And although the Bahamas historically has imported most of its trade goods from the U.S., such as agriculture, the country is beginning to turn to China to fill those demands, costing American companies their business. In 2017, President Trump nominated San Diego developer and veteran industrialist Doug Manchester for the role of U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas. Yet in the 2 years since then, Congress has stalled on his confirmation. With the Bahamian economy struggling on its own and China building inroads, the United States could seize an opportunity to step in and help the Bahamas create jobs and improve economic performance. That's a role traditionally filled by an ambassador. While some consider the appointment a plum position, the alternative is leaving the post vacant while crime grows and China sinks its claws into the island unopposed. Reducing crime, fighting human and drug trafficking, as well as building infrastructure would not only benefit the Bahamas, but the safety and security of the United States as well. Pearson Sharp, One American News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.